kings and queens. It's me, Eva Monroe. Thank you guys so much for joining me here on my channel. So this video is a little bit different today. This is some frag help for some people that I sometimes get questions about starting a fragrance collection. People often ask me like, how many bottles should I have in my collection? Or how do I start, building a huge collection? And so I have been in this for a long time. Even before YouTube, before the Fragrance Kings, I've been collecting fragrances for a long time. And there are many mistakes that I made along the way. So I figured if I could help someone, at least just one person, from making some of the mistakes that I made, then this video will be worth my time. So my first piece of advice would be to love your collection. If you only have 5 bottles of fragrances, love those 5 bottles. Cherish them. Make sure that they are 5 fragrances you feel like you absolutely could not live without. And from that moment on, only purchase bottles that you love. In the beginning, we all make the mistake of wanting quantity over quality. And sometimes it's because we are involved in forums where we see people who always post pictures of their collections and they have 500-600 fragrances, and we're like, that needs to be my life. That may be your life someday, but don't rush to that point. Only buy the fragrances that you love, and love the fragrances that you have. I purged my collection in December and I came away with a box of fragrances, full of fragrances that I didn't love, that I never should have bought. So love your collection. My next piece of advice is the most important piece of advice. Do not fall for the hype train, because as I've said before, the hype train will run over you. So think about it. Picture this. If you're on a fragrance forum or if you watch YouTube reviewers on a consistent basis, when a new fragrance hits the shelf, probably before you even have access to it, you will see tons and tons of reviews on this fragrance. People will be posting this fragrance as their scent of the day. Everyone will be loving this fragrance into oblivion and beyond. But wait for it. 30 to 60 days. Go on Frag Swap. Search that particular fragrance, and I guarantee you will be able to find bottle on top of bottle on top of bottle of this fragrance for sale, way less than retail, if you just wait for it. And that's because most of the time, most people have fell for the hype train, and they feel like in order to be a contributing member of FragCom, they must own said fragrance. Don't do that. Learn how to form your own opinion about fragrances. Wait for it. Samples. Get decants. So many things you can do. Go in the store. Try it out if it's available in the store. But do not rush to purchase a fragrance just because it is at that current moment on the hype train. Most fragrances have their moment on the hype train. Just wait for it. My next piece of advice is paying retail. When I first got involved in FragCom, I would hear people saying all the time, I don't pay retail. I don't pay retail. And I was like, what are these people stealing? I walked into Saks, Neiman's, Nordstrom's whenever I wanted to purchase a fragrance. Purchased the full bottle. Went on about my business. I thought I was a contributing member of society. However, I was a less than smart contributing member of society, because there are so many different things that you can do. There are so many different fragrance discounters. There are decants. There are samples. I love a partial. I have so many bottles of fragrances in my collection. When I'm dead and gone on, my bottles of fragrances will still consist or exist, and I bet you none of them will be empty. So I will buy a partial in a minute. So paying retail is sometimes unnecessary, especially if you're a member of FragCom. You can always find a fragrance at a discounted price. And I know there are people that only believe in paying retail. Don't come for me. This is just my advice. I don't always pay retail. Every now and again I will. My next piece of advice is to learn the notes in fragrances. Get familiar with the notes and fragrances. Sometimes you purchase fragrances and there's just there's one thing in them that does not agree with you and you can't figure out what it is. You just don't know. You're like, there's something in this fragrance that I don't like. Get familiar with the notes. I did this by purchasing several essential oil kits because I wanted to know what vetiver smelled like. I wanted to know what patchouli smelled like, ylang ylang, all on its own. When you learn that and you learn what notes don't go well with your body chemistry, then you will purchase less fragrances that you're not in love with, or you will purchase less fragrances that actually don't agree with your body type, which goes into my next piece of advice. Learn your body chemistry. Everyone's body chemistry is different. So just because you see said reviewer saying that this fragrance lasts 15 hours plus on their skin does not necessarily mean that it is going to last 15 hours plus on your skin. Everyone's body chemistry is different. Learn yours. Learn the proper way to apply fragrances is my next piece of advice. And again, some people will say you apply fragrances however the hell you want to apply them. And that's true, but there is a right way and there is a wrong way, and you should learn the right way to do it so that you are not offensive to the other people around you. Now, I don't care if other people smell my fragrance. Actually, I love for other people to smell me, but I never want to offend anyone. So learn how to properly apply your fragrances. My pattern is different in the winter than it is in the summer, because in the summertime, I'm wearing shorts and skirts. I spray my knees or behind my knees, and I spray my ankles. I also spray the in between my elbow in the summertime, because that's where you build up body heat, and sometimes I feel like it just like sets your fragrance off really nice. But learn the proper way to apply your fragrances. My last piece of advice is be careful with Marshalls and TJ Maxx. Now, there's levels to this thing. I say, a friend that I talk to and we say that all the time, there's levels to this ish. And one of the levels that we all go through, one thing that we're all guilty of, is going to Marshalls and TJ Maxx and getting as many fragrances as we can at a discounted price. Because in the beginning, quantity is more important than quality. Be careful when you do that, because sometimes when you see those fragrances in there, there is definitely some place that you could get those fragrances at a cheaper price. They're typically in there because they're not selling anymore, or they've reached their shelf life. There are many reasons why they end up in there. So do your research. Every now and again, I still walk in there and creep up on a come up, but it doesn't happen too often. So always do your research. So those are my tips for you if you are just brand new at starting to build your fragrance collection. Again, quality over quantity, because you have to learn that just because something costs $400 does not make it a better fragrance than one that costs $9.99. I have just recently been turned on to the best gourmand fragrance I have ever smelled in my life. It lasts longer than any other fragrances I own, and it is $9.99. So happy collecting to everyone. Thank you guys so much for listening to me. And until I see you again, be blessed and bye for now.